Luke, the man who stayed. Luke alone is with me, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. The sentence is brief, but it is not sudden, it is the end of a pattern. To feel its weight, we have to walk the road that led there. We first notice Luke not in a prison, but on a road. The pronouns shift in Acts chapter 16. They becomes we. No announcement, no introduction, just presence. We follow him into Philippi. The marketplace is loud. Accusations rise quickly. Paul and Silas are dragged before magistrates. The rods fall. Backs are torn open. They are thrown into the inner prison, feet fastened in stocks. Luke is not named in the beating, but he is still in the story. The pronoun does not disappear until after hymns are sung in the dark and the doors shake loose from their hinges. He does not step away when the rods fall. He does not vanish when the doors close. The road continues. Miles stretch across Macedonia, Roman highways under sun and dust, conversations in homes, rejection in synagogues, nights with uncertain lodging, no guarantee of welcome. Luke walks. Years later, the we appears again as Paul heads toward Jerusalem. Everyone knows what waits there. Warnings have been spoken, pleas have been made. The city is tense. Luke goes anyway. He is in Jerusalem as the air turns volatile. Paul is seized in the temple courts. A crowd surges, shouts rise, hands grab. The situation spirals so quickly that Roman soldiers must force their way through to pull Paul out alive. Luke records it carefully. He does not soften the chaos. He does not exaggerate the danger. He stays near enough to know what happened. Paul is taken into custody. Caesarea follows. Years of confinement, hearings before governors, speeches before kings, appeals to Caesar. Luke does not drift away. He listens as Paul speaks before Felix and Festus. He notes when Roman authorities declare that Paul has done nothing deserving death. He preserves the arguments. He names the officials. He records the verdicts. These are not the notes of a distant admirer. They are the careful observations of a companion who remains close. Then comes the ship. Paul is placed under guard and sent toward Rome. No one would have blamed Luke for stopping there. The empire has made its move. Paul is now a prisoner of Caesar. The journey ahead is uncertain and dangerous. Luke boards anyway. The wind shifts. The voyage turns treacherous. For days the sky disappears behind cloud and spray. Sailors panic. Cargo is thrown overboard. Soldiers consider killing the prisoners to prevent escape. Luke is not required to be there. He remains. When the ship finally breaks apart against the reef and bodies move through cold surf toward land, Luke is still beside Paul. The first Roman imprisonment unfolds. There is confinement, but there is space. Visitors come. The gospel is proclaimed. There is tension, but there is breath. Luke remains in orbit. Years pass, and then comes another arrest. This time, the atmosphere has changed. Nero's hostility has hardened. Christians are no longer merely questioned. They are blamed. Association with a Christian leader is no longer inconvenient. It is dangerous. Paul is taken again. This confinement is harsher, colder, final. Now we widen the lens. Luke is likely a Gentile, shaped by the wider Greco-Roman world. A physician trained in observation and discipline. A man who could have built a quiet life within the structures of the empire. Paul is a Jew, once a Pharisee of Pharisees, schooled in the law, zealous for the traditions of Israel. A man who once persecuted followers of Jesus and now proclaims him as Lord. Under Rome, they are simply associates of a condemned movement. Under the kingdom, they are brothers. Jesus once spoke of other sheep that were not of this fold, sheep who would hear his voice so there would be one flock and one shepherd. That promise is no longer abstract. It is sitting in a Roman prison. The nations are not merely hearing the gospel in distant cities. They are standing beside a condemned Jew in chains. The wall between Jew and Gentile is not only preached about, it is crossed, lived, shared in suffering. A Gentile remains with a Jew when the empire has turned its gaze toward them both. It is crossing boundaries the world insists should divide us. It is staying. This is what faith looks like when allegiance is tested. Not merely belief in a message, but love embodied in presence. Jesus said the world would recognize his disciples by their love for one another. In that Roman cell, the empire saw it. A Gentile remained with a Jew. A physician remained with a prisoner. A brother remained with a condemned man. And we step back into the cell where we began. The air is damp, the shadows long, the outcome certain. And Paul writes, Luke alone is with me. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 11. The sentence does not announce heroism, it reveals constancy. Faith is not only believing what is true, it is remaining when truth becomes costly. It is walking beside the suffering. It is staying. As you sit with Luke's life, consider where staying faithful feels inconvenient, uncomfortable, or costly. Where might Jesus be inviting you not merely to believe true things, but to remain present in allegiance and love? If you're willing, share your reflections or questions in the comments so we can learn and walk this road together.